Hi guys, it's Mike, and today I'm going to show you 2 ways I make mashed potatoes and how I make gravy. Okay, so the first way I'm going to show you is how I make sous vide mashed potatoes. And the first thing you're going to want to do is peel and chop some potatoes. And you're going to want to have a bowl with water in it set off to the side so you can put your potatoes in there and they won't start to go brown. Then we're going to take a vacuum sealed bag, put a little bit of our garlic puree in there, some salt, pepper, and butter. And then we're going to vacuum out the air. And then you're going to throw it into your sous vide at 190 degrees for 2 hours. The next way I'm going to show you is very easy. You're just going to chop up some potatoes. Throw them in some water. Boil them up. And now I'm going to use this thing called a ricer, and you can put the potato chunks in there with the skins and everything and just press them through and it mashes your potatoes for you. And then you just empty the skins out of the top when you're done, throw them in the trash, reload until you've squeezed out all of your potatoes. That was pretty easy. Throw some butter in there, so throw some cream and some seasoning, and you've got yourself some pretty nice mashed potatoes. And after you've added everything in, just use a spatula and fold it all together. Don't mix it too much or it'll become kind of gummy and pasty. You just want to incorporate everything in there. Now you've got some perfect mashed potatoes, and all you had to do was boil them and push them through the ricer. If you're interested in that ricer, I believe it was about $5 on Amazon, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So the sous vide method is really easy. After you've got everything in that bag there, you just throw them in your sous vide at 190 for 2 hours, pull them out, and then just roll the bag around like I'm doing right here, and then you have perfect mashed potatoes in a bag ready to go anytime you want. You can leave it as chunky or mash it up as much as you want in the bag. That's a really cool thing about this. The only thing is this takes about a few hours, and the other way that I showed you takes about 10 minutes, not including prep time. So now I'm going to show you how I make gravy. I'm going to take a few pieces of butter here, and I've got the heat on medium high, and I'm just going to melt the butter in here, shake it up, whisk it around. Now I'm going to start by adding a spoonful of flour just to try and get it mixed in there. And the consistency you're looking for is if you've ever mixed cornstarch and water, and you just want to keep adding in flour until you get that consistency. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you whisk it around, it feels like a solid and reacts like a solid, but then as soon as you let it set, it reacts like a liquid and just starts to spread out. And what this is called is a roux, and we're just going to let this cook down on medium-high heat, and always be watching it because it can burn real quick. We're going to add our salt, pepper, and garlic seasoning. And you can see what I was talking about there. When you start to whisk it around, it starts to look like a solid. And then as soon as you stop whisking it, it starts reacting like a liquid again. Now I'm going to start tamping this down with the end of my whisk so I can get a lot of surface area. And like I said, medium-high heat. You're just going to keep watching this, making sure it doesn't burn. And while you're doing that, you want to get your stock ready. And if you want to learn how to make this awesome stock for soups, gravies, and sauces, you can check this card up here, and it'll take you right to that link. We're going to keep whisking this around every once in a while, making sure it doesn't burn, always watching it. We're going for a dark blonde color. And after about 5 to 6 minutes, you're going to get that dark blonde color, and now we're going to start slowly incorporating the stock. Now I've turned up the heat from medium to medium high to high. And this is because the stock is cold and the roux is warm, and it's going to drop the roux temperature. And each time before I add in more stock, I let it come to temperature a little bit more. This gets easier as there's more and more warm gravy that you're mixing in with the cold stock. And as you can see, as we slowly start to incorporate more and more of the stock, it starts to look more and more like gravy. Now, what you're going to want to do is mix it together until it looks like it's too thin to be the consistency of gravy that you want, and you're going to leave that on the heat, constantly whisking it, and you're waiting for it to start to come together. And now we're going to turn it on to medium heat and let it simmer for a while. And we're always going to be whisking this just to make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. And then we're going to do this for a few minutes. And what you can do when you've got it at the consistency you think you want it to be, you can take a spoon, dip it in there, and coat the back like this. And then you can test it with your finger to see if it's the consistency you want, and also to see if the flavor is good. And then once it's reached the consistency that you want, you can just set it on low and let it boil over. And you know you're doing something right when you get a nice gravy skin on the top there. That's actually one of the best parts, in my opinion, of making gravy, is you get to take the gravy skin on the top and put it on top of your mashed potatoes like that. And there you go, guys. That's how I make mashed potatoes and gravy. I hope you enjoy it. If you like this, please consider subscribing. Thanks, guys. Bye.